This is Carlin on 98.7 ESPN.
I've been telling you guys that the Mets don't need to be in the market when it comes to making trades. And I think that finally, and I thought this would be the case anyway, finally, you got a little confirmation that that's not really going to happen. The Mets are at a juncture where they need to add talent. They don't need to be sending talent away in order to acquire more talent. So while that pretty much puts you in the heart of the free agent market to get what you need to get, they don't need to put themselves in a position where they're trading away players to get hopefully better players like a Lindor, where you're trading away Dom Smith plus, and you have to give away the assets and then pay and hopefully get him for a long-term contract. So with all of that being the case, I love this quote today from Sandy Alderson. It was just a short one, and it was sent to the Post, to Joel Sherman at the Post. And he cautioned against the possibility of a major trade, saying to Joel Sherman, quote, "We have to be careful how we use players in transactions." You know what? I love that. They're not talking about going to try to get Chris Bryant or Arenado. And if those guys are just trying to, if those teams, whether it's the Rockies, whether it's the Cubs, if they're just trying to offload salary and they're not getting much in return for them, okay, then we could talk about it. Similar to what the Yankees did when they shipped Starlin Castro for Stanton. But Arenado's owed $200 million over the next 6 years. Is he a tremendous player? Absolutely. He's great, great player, offensively and defensively. Bryant, he's an excellent player. I love Chris Bryant as a player. I really do. But the Mets need to focus more in the department of free agency, because when you are adding as opposed to trading away and receiving back, you're getting just to be in a much stronger position. Think about strength for a minute. Has strength been any kind of a position that the Mets have operated from in a while? When I talk about strength, I'm not talking about one or two positions. I'm talking about the team as a whole, where you look at the roster, let's say 1 through 30, and on the bottom end of it, they don't have to be starters on other teams, but you know you have good bench players. And then you have a couple of guys who could be starters on the bench. And I think that's how they need to be thinking this year. I'm looking to supplant a couple of the guys who have been relatively regular starters and get better. What do I mean by that? I wouldn't mind that, and Brandon Nimmo's a good player, okay? And he's going to end up getting paid here soon. I wouldn't mind having Nimmo be a guy that I can slide in to play a couple of different positions in the outfield during the week, but he's not an everyday starter. That J.D. Davis is not necessarily an everyday starter. Does this mean that you have to do a lot? Of course it means that. Of course it means that. It means that you're going to be adding a George Springer in center field, which I think they need to do. It means that you're going to be adding a significant bat on the infield, whether it's behind the plate or at third base, or even if you got involved on LeMahieu. It means that you're going to have people in positions, and I think Andres Gimenez is an everyday shortstop. You're going to have people and players in every position, like Rosario on the bench. He could be a good bench player for you. It would make them just stronger. You haven't thought in those terms. It's always felt very paper thin, even when they've had the stars before, right? With guys like Cespedes and you know, guys like Jason Bay, that if it just goes wrong, you're dead. If you have a couple of those guys, like Davis, like Nimmo, who could come off the bench and help you that way, and you could start Dominic Smith every day in left field, and he becomes a serviceable enough left fielder, which I think he will, and has progressed. all of a sudden you're dealing with a different dynamic. And you're not just looking to go and get all the great players. What you're looking to do is just strengthen the whole thing overall. You can't forget what the back end of that looks like. Because we've been through it enough, haven't we? In terms of injuries across the board. You have to be in a position where 1 or 2 injuries are not going to destroy your season. And that's about strength. Depth, strength in that depth. 800-919-3776. Don't trade away pieces. Because as Sandy, as others have already pointed out, the minor league system for the Mets has to get completely revamped. And it is not exactly loaded with talent at the moment. Let's return to the phones. A lot of basketball calls, whatever you want. Lots of incompetence on the way here shortly. Excited for that, and you should be too, only if you're interested in winning money. Dave in New Jersey, Jersey City to be exact, is next, 98.7 ESPN. Dave, how you doing, brother?
Okay, how you doing?
I'm great.
I know when Leon Hall was first hired, I think the first play they was talking about was Towns. And I think I would only say 3 plays I would want the Knicks to try to go after: McCollum, Towns, or Bradley Beal. I don't think they need Westbrook, and I still want to stay with these young guys and let's see what we can do with the guys they drafted, and Barrett and Knox.
Yeah, I don't think though with Towns, I don't think that they're in a hurry to trade him away. I don't. Bradley Beal is an interesting guy. Bradley Beal is such a good player, but he also feels like somebody that you bring him in and you wonder, is that a contract I'm really going to regret having on my books in a year or so? Because doesn't it kind of feel that way for the Wizards right now?
Yeah, but I don't think anybody, Washington, to me, they just couldn't put that team together. Like John Wall injury, a lot of stuff affected the Wizards.
No, I understand that. And, Beal has been a great offensive player in his career. I'm not arguing that. I like him an awful lot. And he's 27. And he's a guy that is going to put 30 up a night. But I don't know what it is about Bradley Beal that doesn't have me as excited as a guy like Westbrook does. I don't know.
Here goes something interesting. Let's say if you remove LeBron, Kevin Durant, just a few plays. They older now. The Knicks just build a young team because those guys not. LeBron might have 2 or 3 more. They're going to be gone. So
yeah, but here's the problem with that. I mean, all right. So you're gonna wait how much longer? You're gonna wait how much longer?
I can wait. I like the young guys they have. Let's build them.
But you didn't answer the question. How much longer?
I would say about two or three more years. Just give me 3 years with what they have. But thank you, and I appreciate your service during the COVID and your leadership.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate that.
Yes, you guys did a great job. You and Larry Harsey did a great job. I'm telling you.
Larry's awesome.
So I appreciate your service.
Larry's the best. All right, don't call it that. I'm not exactly working here for a living, but thank you for the call. I appreciate that very much. It's a nice thought. So Beal's got 3 years left, and player option for the last 2 years solid. Player option for the last year at $37 million. Listen, I'm not going to argue with Bradley Beal at 27 years old. You could do a lot worse. Bradley Beal is a very, very good player. I look at the Wizards and what has that translated into? Yes, Wall's been a problem, but has that ever really paid off for them like they thought it would? Not yet. Not yet. I also think there is a degree of sexiness, so to speak, with Westbrook versus Beal. Because Westbrook is a name that, you know, everyone knows. Bradley Beal's not a name that the casual fan is going to immediately think of and say, I got to get to the Garden, even though, you know, as a younger player, his numbers are very similar. And you would hope that he would opt back into that last year. But when you're only going to be 29 years old and a chance to get that big number, you're probably not. 800-919-3776. It's Carlin, 98.7 ESPN. Open lines, good chance to get through, whether it's on the NBA, whether it's on the baseball, and your locks of incompetence are on the way as well. We discuss it all. Listen, those are coming up next. I would just say this. If you want to win, stay. You're not interested in winning? That's certainly your prerogative. Because 12-9 this year. 12-9. Missed a couple of weeks because we didn't have a regular schedule with the show. 12-9. Not too shabs. 98.7 ESPN.
You watch Harden play a lot. You live down in Houston.
All right, what's everybody up to? Fire away. You can hit the comments on the live stream as well. So by all means, don't be afraid to do that. Sean Sweeney checking in. Carlin, you're the man. Thank you, dude. John Fitzgerald. What's up, Chris Cartman? Never got that one before, Slick. Come on. South Park's been around 15 years, and you're hitting me with a South Park Cartman joke? Come on. I'd say you're better than that, but clearly you're not. Personally, I just don't see where going in another direction, you know, going with Gordon Hayward just makes them much better. I don't see it. I think they're okay. I think they get a little bit better, but I don't think they get infinitely better. Let's see here. Siak wants to know, why are all these guys turning down front office interviews with the Mets? Now, was that the deal with Chernoff? I obviously worked for his father, and I do know that they were very happy in Cleveland as a family. So I think that's part of it, too. I wouldn't get worried about that with the front office interviews with the Mets. Now, look, Sandy's on top, but I don't think we all expect him to be there for 5 years. I think Sandy's probably only going to be there for a couple of years. Michael DeAndrea, love the Facebook's live feeds. Excited that Cohen is interactive. Needs some moves, though. They're coming. Listen, the moves are coming, okay? They will end up doing a lot. And how do you not love the owner when he makes fun of Bobby Bonilla Day? When he realizes how just utterly ridiculous it is. Bring him out to the ballpark. Drive him around in a car. It's awesome stuff. Steve Cohen's a fan, man. That's what you're absolutely seeing. He is 100% a fan. And I think from the fan perspective, you have to love that. Okay. See, come on. It's New York and a promotion. You married? Well, maybe somebody else is making that call. You know what I'm saying?
Why not use Closet Box instead?
All right,
Closet
we'll roll
Box
back in a second.
and they didn't panic. They trusted their board, and they got the player that everybody thought was a really good fit for the Knicks. And the fact that the kid came out and said he wanted to be a Knick and being able to wear that jersey and rep his city means something to him, that's the attitude that you want your guys to have. You want players that want to be here.
DCR is DiPietro, Canty, and Rothenberg. Catch them weekday mornings at 9 on 98.7 ESPN.
It's a good Friday night, too.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. Tell me, mirror, what is
918 Carlin, 98.7 ESPN. Open lines at 800-919-3776. The baseball, all the basketball with Westbrook, with Gordon Hayward, all of that. Lots of discussion around that tonight. People still really focused on the polarizing figure that is Russell Westbrook, and the opinions have been right down the middle. I just don't see how you can continue to tolerate losing. And bringing Westbrook here infinitely makes the Knicks that much better. By the way, if you have not checked out the video live stream of the show, please do. We put it up basically all over the internet. It gets annoying. My Twitter feed is so annoying, it annoys the hell out of me because it includes like retweets of the feed, right? And, you know, check in, you hang out a little bit. It's cool. We'll take your comments on the feeds on Facebook Live, ESPN New York, on our Facebook page, on ESPN New York 98.7's Twitter handle, and also on my own Twitch page, Chris Carlin Sports, and my own YouTube page as well. It's all there. It's everywhere. But check it out. And, you know, I like to have a little fun over there, too. Talk during the breaks, your comments, put them up, the whole bit. At any rate, it's time for this week's Locks of Incompetence. Now, for those who are unfamiliar, allow me to explain it. It is basically me throwing my hands up to the sky and saying, I can't do this anymore. I can try to examine the matchups in the NFL every which way possible and try to tell you which teams are going to win and why, and give you all the different reasons after much analysis. I can do all the studying I want. I can try every single way I can, but I have not been able to pick a winner in years. A winning record has escaped me for so long. So I just finally said, enough. I take 3 games a week. Usually includes both the Jets and the Giants. Giants are obviously off this week, and they're dealing with some COVID issues as well. But this week, I'll pick the Jets game and 2 others. Now, last week, I went 2-1. And my overall season record for the Locks of Incompetence now sits at 12-9. 12-9, that's a .571 winning percentage. That is better than any tout service would be able to claim. So, how we do this now is simple. We pick the most ridiculous fact about a city involved in the matchup we can, and that will determine who we're picking. And with that, Jacob Perry, hit it.
He's tried everything. Analysis, instinct, facts, coin flips, magic 8 balls, Scientology. If picking NFL games is right, you can count on him to be wrong. It's time for Carlin's Locks of Incompetence.
That's right. Once again, to reiterate, 12-9 on the year. Game number 1. The Jets visiting the Los Angeles Chargers, according to our friends at FanDuel. The Chargers are 9.5-point favorites. Did you know that the Santa Monica Pier was originally designed to protect a sewage pipe that dumped treated sewage into the ocean. Chargers minus 9.5. Game number 2. According to FanDuel Sportsbook, the Kansas City Chiefs in Las Vegas to face the Raiders are 8-point favorites. Did you know that before Harry S. Truman went into politics, he owned a Kansas City haberdashery? Chiefs minus 8. Finally, the New Orleans Saints are home. And according to FanDuel Sportsbook, 3.5-point favorites over the Atlanta Falcons. And yes, I'm aware what's going on. Quarterback position, but again, none of this is based in fact or analysis. Did you know that the city motto of New Orleans is les bons temps roulent? This French saying translates to let the good times roll, which, as we know, really sums up the vibe of this great city. Saints minus 3.5. Those, your locks of incompetence for week 11. That's right. Lock it up. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN, 800-919-3776, 12 and 9. Picking the winners, 12 and 9. Santiago is in Kearney, New Jersey. Santi, what's up, brother?
Hey, Chris. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Great. I honestly don't think, this is my view, the Knicks should go after Westbrook. Why would you want somebody else's problem? This is the way a lot of franchises get ruined, and the Knicks have been one of them for years. Remember the Antonio Matthias trade, the wheelchair. This is another example. This guy's on the decline.
This is not the Antonio McDyess trade.
Yeah, but this guy's on the decline. It makes no sense. You're not going to win anything. You're going to go to the playoffs. So what? For what? To get bounced back? Keep building your team little by little. We already lost enough. So we can
keep building it little by little. You should be making the playoffs around 2040. Come on.
Not really. Not really. I'm with the other color that go before. LeBron James and all these guys are going to be gone in another 3 years. So if you develop a couple of good players, it's a new generation. You never know. You never know.
Yeah, here's what we know. The league is won by teams that have stars. The championship is won by teams that have stars. Fact 1. Fact 2, the Knicks have no stars. Fact 3, Russell Westbrook is a star. Can we put all that together and understand they're going to be better? And maybe, just maybe, as you say, those younger players continue to develop. And a year from now, Westbrook proves that he has improved the situation. And all of a sudden, somebody wants to come and play with him and try to win a championship in New York. Is that such an outlandish thought for a guy that's 32? He's not 35. He's not 37. He's 32. And coming off a season where he played with James Harden and still averaged 27, 7, and 7.
Yeah, he did. But I really think, let Brooklyn win the championship, and us as a Knicks fan.
Oh, yeah, that's going to go over big.
5 years.
That's going to go over big. Let Brooklyn win the championship. I'm sure Jim Dolan's on board with that one. Come on, and listen, I'm not telling you to take the major shortcut here, okay? I want to see the younger players develop too. I really do. But I also understand that I'm tired of watching losing basketball. I'm tired of watching 28-win teams. I'm tired of watching 31-win teams. I would like to see a team that's actually capable of making the postseason. And in the Eastern Conference, that is not an outlandish request.
You're correct about that. Your view is right on point with that because anybody can make it in that conference right now.
Yeah.
Because there's only like two good teams, three or two.
But you want to continue to sit around and let the Knicks win 28, 29, 30 games. I would rather get that number up around 37. Let me ask you a question. Could the Knicks win 37 games with Russell Westbrook this year?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, they could. And that would get them in the playoffs. And I'm not saying that 37 games is awesome. It's not. But it's a start. And it's a place where you're going to get better. You're going to add excitement. You're going to get a team that is on the rise as a whole. And you're going to get an exceptionally motivated Westbrook as well. Thanks for the call, Santiago. It's one of those situations that it benefits everybody involved. Listen, 37 games is not what you aspire to winning. Of course not. And I'm not even saying that's the bottom, okay? With Westbrook, to me, the Knicks could win 40 games. I think they could. Absolutely could. I'd go as far as to say they will win 40 games if they bring Westbrook in. How about that? Think about it for a second, okay? They played 66 games this past year. They won 21. So you factor that out, they probably would have won around 25 or 26. 17 the year before. 29, 31, 32, 17. The Knicks haven't won 37 games in 7 years. They haven't been to the playoffs in 8 years. They've been to the playoffs 3 times in the last 15 years. And basically 4 times in the last 20. Just to be precise about it. Now, the fact that it's a 72-game season, could the Knicks win 40 games? All right, that might be pushing it. I was still thinking 82. Could the Knicks win 36 games? 37 games? Yeah, they could in a 72-game season. The Knicks can be right knocking on the door of 500. No question in my mind about that. 800-919-3776. 800-919-ESPN. Open lines. We'll hit them. We'll continue to. Coming up in just moments. Also, why Gordon Hayward is not the answer. And the Nets have drawn the line in the sand on James Harden. Good for them. 9:30, me, you, us. 98.7 ESPN and the video live stream at ESPN New York 98.7's Twitter and on ESPN New York's Facebook page. It's Carlin, because you want to see more of this face that was once paid to be on television for 8 years. Think about that for a second. You think the Wilpons made a lot of bad decisions on the field. 8 years, 9 years they paid me to be on TV. This specimen, some might argue, the worst investment of all. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN.
Hey, Carlin.
The guy who's now going to be the because you've got a team now.
Hey, I love beer money.
They won it. Oh, so you're saying they had a great draft? I didn't say that. I still see a franchise that, much like the Cleveland Browns, still can't find their quarterback.
Best gig on the
Don't miss.
Oh, it was amazing. Here's a microphone. All right, friends. It's time to tell you about our good friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. Now, you know all about FanDuel Sportsbook, don't you? Of course you do. The deal with FanDuel Sportsbook is this. They have got as many great deals and promos and just opportunities to win left and right. So much so that I can tell you a lot about them off the top of my head, and I'm going to have to because my computer just froze. But I'll tell you this. as I stall and look to get more copy to give you more specifics here and find another way to perhaps tell you about FanDuel Sportsbook. And I've done just that. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique bet types like same-game parlays, exclusive promotions, and if you win, they'll get you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. And right now, FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. That's right. Just place a bet on any game. FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000. And if you don't win your first bet, that's what's going to happen. No strings attached. Place any bet you want. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you're going to get that entire bet up to $1,000 back inside credit. Maybe you check out the Lions and Panthers this week. I don't know. Maybe you're playing a same-game parlay. Listen, take a look. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started. And be sure to sign up with the promo code Carlin so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code Carlin. 21 and older, present in New Jersey or Pennsylvania. First online real money wager, only site credit, non-withdrawable, and expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Not enough O's and smooth right there.
Customizes your home insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
As a minimalist, paying less for insurance is more.
Nice place. Is your house a bubble?
It's a dome. I find corners unnecessary.
At Liberty Mutual, that's how we feel about overpaying for insurance.
But I do miss having shelves.
Everything is frozen on my computer.
Nothing, obvious.
Only pay for
That's not good.
At libertymutual.com.
This is Carlin.
And that's what be drunk to go and get James Harden. Drunk. That I can't even force quit applications right now. Would not win a championship. They might not even make the finals. Do we have Sully and O'Neal still? Rather than later, the three of them would start on the phone. Each other. Can we agree on that?
Yep, Sully on
that. Can you do me a favor? Type on that screen real quick. Let me see if I can see it when it changes. Yeah, okay, I can see that when it changes.
Carolers, that's the holiday spirit. Speaking of which, SimpliSafe Home Security is having a huge holiday sale. Right now, you can get 40% off a new system and a free camera at simplisafe.com/holiday. That's 40% off the system U.S. News named the best of 2020. SimpliSafe protects your whole home 24/7 with monitoring by professionals. The sale ends soon, so go to simplisafe.com/holiday for 40% off and a free camera today.
1 minute.
Been a tough 2020 for so many.
So the Michael K. Show and 98.7 ESPN want to make it better for you, our listeners, with our 20 in 20 contest.
Make sure you are listening to Michael, Don, and Peter every day.
And guess the...
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm good.
You only got O'Neal.
Style by winning incredible...
Sully's gone?
No, you only got Sully, no O'Neal.
Let's go to
O'Neal's
Nick in Bayside. Hello, Nick. Who is the celebrity voice?
I think it's Aaron Judge.
You are $1,000 richer, Nick.
Wow.
How about that?
$1,000, dude.
$1,000, baby. What do you do with that?
Well, Michael, let me tell you something. I lost so much money on RJ Bell's picks this week.
Oh, wow.
So
it balances out.
So this will help.
So we taketh and then we giveth.
Don't miss your shot every day starting at 2:55 right here on 98.7 ESPN.
Sully in Staten Island wants to chime in on Russell Westbrook as well. At 800-919-3776. Sully, how goes the battle?
It's Charlie, Carlin.
All right, well, then we've started poorly to begin with, but that's okay. What's up, Charlie? Sorry.
Nah, nothing. I'm just I'm listening to these people call in, and I want to know what they're smoking and if I can have some, because Russell Westbrook's a top 20 player. So the reason you wouldn't want him makes zero sense to me. The guy makes us an instant playoff team. He makes everyone on the team better. I don't care how selfish you think he is. To average a triple-double, you can't be that selfish. You need 10 assists. So, I mean, what's wrong with these people?
I just think that you understand what the reputation of the player has been. And I think sometimes we get too caught up in that. You know, Westbrook knows that that reputation has been built around him, but I think unfairly to a degree. This is a guy who is absolutely renowned as being one of the hardest workers in the NBA. He is a great, great player. He is a top 5 to 6 player in the league. And I know that there's going to be people that argue with me about that. But all I can tell you is when he's at his best, he is one of the best, period. To average a triple-double, you have to be able to do that. And again, played with Harden this past year and still got his 20 shots a game, averaged 27, 7, and 7. And he's still a very, very good player and instantly adds credibility to the team. And for me, the single biggest thing that you can say is a guy who walks in the door and gives you credibility. The Knicks have not had credibility in a really long time.
And Chris, he's a pit bull. The guy adds that New York toughness back to the team that we've been missing since the 90s. Like, I'm only 35 years old, but we haven't been good in forever, and that toughness is what we need.
Look, there's no getting around the fact that Russell Westbrook has an edge. And if you think he's not going to want to go out there and stick it to Durant and Kyrie every opportunity that the Knicks play the Nets, you're out of your mind. I think it's fun. I think it's a tremendous opportunity to really shove it to them. And Westbrook would relish in that.
I'm with you. Just one last thing. The little cheap shot Don took at you at the end of the K show.
What's funny is...
You laugh a little bit, but unnecessary.
No, that was okay. And what's funny is, so they're talking about what Jarve from Australia had proposed as the punishment for the guy who loses the picks this year. And they were saying that, you know, at the beach bash at the beach or beach bash, whatever the big event is, they would have to wear all Eagles stuff and paint their face green and have to sing the Eagles fight song. And I said, in a text to Michael, you could use my Carson Wentz jersey from when I went to Philadelphia. And I also added, which he left out, Peter would be swimming in the jersey. So I'm making fun of myself here, but here's really where the brilliance of Michael is. He left that part of it out so that somebody could take the layup. You know, that Don could do that. And that's just Michael throwing dimes left and right. You know, that's just an assist right there. You know? And he did it later, and they didn't take him up on it again because I texted him shortly thereafter as Don was laughing his ass off about the whole thing. And I said, I am fat. Do I not bleed? ... maple syrup? And Michael left the maple syrup part out, assuming that somebody would say, do I not bleed? And somebody would throw in chocolate sauce? You know? That's the brilliance of K, is that Don's the bad guy there, but he really set him up. He set him up to ping me, and he set him up to look like the bad guy.
Well, God bless, Carlin.
All right, brother. Be good. 800-919-3776. It's 9:40. We got time for you and me on the phones the rest of the way. Open lines to do it. Sit tight. We will get to you in just moments. We'll also discuss the Latvian laser. Who else the Knicks are trying to get after? And I will try to unfreeze my computer during the break. That should be fun as well. So, you know, if the live stream goes down, you'll know why. Carlin, 98.7 ESPN.